What is up, everybody, and welcome to FLW Videos. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about Alolan Golem and whether or not it is worth powering up in Pokemon Go. So Alolan Golem is actually one of my top 3 favorite Alolan forms, along with Muck and Exeggutor, so I'm definitely excited to talk about it in this video. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we need to do is to compare the Pokemon versus its regular Kanto version. So the main differences between them is going to come down to, firstly, the typing. Regular Golem has Ground as a secondary typing, while Alolan Golem has Electric as a secondary typing. But another difference is going to be related to the moveset. But don't worry, we will definitely be covering everything. So you may have noticed this, maybe you didn't, but they actually have the exact same stats. Both maxing out at 2,916, you will see that all of the stats stay the same. A little bit of a hint as well is going to be related to the weather boost. So when you take a look at the weather boost, because of the different typing, it's going to actually get a boost in different weather. For instance, with regular Golem, it's going to be sunny, and then for Alolan Golem, it's going to be rainy. But at least for the rainy, just know it's going to be from the electric typing. So like I said, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the differences between the moveset. The main difference between the moveset is going to be that the ground basically gets substituted with electric. And then beyond that, the rock type moveset is going to be the same. So that's at least cool that both of them are going to share the exact same rock movesets. And then at least for Alolan Golem, it kind of gets an upgrade because electric tends to work a little bit better than ground typing movesets in Pokemon Go. Up next, we need to go ahead and talk a little bit about the weaknesses. Because these Pokemon are two different typings, there is going to be a little bit of a change. So I want to go ahead and hit some of the highlights. When you take a look at the weaknesses for the regular Golem, you will see a ×2 on water and grass. But Alolan Golem gets that downgraded down to just a regular weakness, basically just related to the rock, and then not the electric. But other than that, the steel type drops off, and then if you look at Alolan Golem, the only one that's going to be a ×2 weakness is going to be ground. But if you are picking a typing, I would say that being double weak to ground is not going to be as big of a deal. Sure, a Pokemon like Groudon is going to be very good, but most people don't tend to use a ground type moveset. Also beyond that, I want to talk a little bit about the weakness of ice and flying, because that is going to come into the conversation later on in the video. So when we're talking about how this Pokemon performs, I thought it would be very smart to head over to Pokebattler, battle against a Kyogre to see exactly how good Alolan Golem is going to be from an electric type perspective. So let's go ahead and take a look at the results. When we pull up the results, you will see that Alolan Golem does actually make it on the list. And what's interesting about this is technically, it's going to be the 4th best electric type performer, and the 2nd best from a non-legendary typing. So if you are looking for just a kind of filler and you don't have enough Raikou or Zapdos or Jolteon, then I would say that Alolan Golem is not going to be too terrible of an option. If I had to place Alolan Golem into a different ranking for electric typing Pokemon, this is what it would be. So although this is going to be really good for Golem, at least from being in 4th place, there is going to be a little bit of a negative to this, and that's going to be the idea that there is going to be some extra threats when Generation 4 gets here, specifically Magnezone and Electivire. So if we answer the question, is Golem going to be worth powering up from an electric typing? The answer is actually going to be no, and I want to go ahead and briefly explain why. Sure, right now it's going to be 4th, but as soon as Gen 4 hits, it's immediately going to fall out of the top 5. But like I said, if you're just looking for a fun Pokemon to use, then maybe it is going to be a okay option, but it will never be the best, at least from an electric typing. So now that we've talked about Alolan Golem from an electric typing, let's go ahead and talk about it from a rock, because I can promise you there's going to be some very interesting results from a rock type standpoint. So once again, let's go ahead and pull up the two Pokemon so that we can compare. We said before that the moveset differed, but that was from the ground to electric. But what happens when these Pokemon perform against each other from a rock type standpoint? Since they're going to have the exact same moves, I thought it would be very important to talk a little bit about the results. Once again, we'll go ahead and pull this up, but something interesting that I want to specifically talk about is going to be related to ice and flying. As you will see on the resistances, that Alolan Golem gets a ×2 resistance against flying, while the ice type drops off on the weakness. So I figured, why not go ahead and try out Alolan Golem versus Golem against an ice type Pokemon, and then maybe against something else like an Articuno that's going to be ice and flying. So we can specifically talk about instances that Alolan Golem could be better than Golem. So up first, let's go ahead and take a look at Regice. So Regice is going to be very important for us to get a specific moveset. Because Regice has the move Focus Blast, it's very important for us to not use a Golem in this case. So in this instance, I decided to use Frost Breath and Blizzard, and as you will see, the regular Golem technically outperforms the Alolan Golem. But something interesting about this is going to be that Alolan Golem actually received less deaths, and the actual time to completion is only a 20-second difference. So if you were to use Alolan Golem, I would say for the most part you're actually going to be a little bit better off just because you will use less of them. So let's go ahead and pull up a very interesting case, and this is going to be one of the most specific cases where Alolan Golem actually outperforms the regular Golem. And that's going to be versus Articuno. So we talked about not having a weakness to ice, and also having a double resistance to flying, and I think that it shows in this case. So we've got two main numbers to talk about. The first one's going to be the time to win. Alolan Golem actually performs roughly 4 to 5 seconds better than regular Golem. So you might be thinking, well, that's not really that big of a deal, especially if you already have a lot of Golems. But then check this out. If you look at the amount of deaths, it's going to be 28 versus 34. So you're definitely going to have to use a lot less revives in this case. But all in all, if we were to pull up Alolan Golem from a rock type standpoint, where would it actually fall? I think that this is going to be the list. Of course, we're talking about Omastar with the dreaded double legacy moveset that everybody seems to want, that no one seems to get. So if you do have it, I am completely jealous of that. But beyond that, I think that the regular Golem is going to outperform the Alolan Golem in most cases. There's going to be some very niche reasons as to why you would want to use Golem. Specifically, I think versus ice typing in general, it's overall going to die less, but it doesn't necessarily perform better. Also, when we take a look at Generation 4 and we're talking about potential threats, we're going to have two from a rock type standpoint, and that's going to be Rampardos and Rhyperior. So once again, Alolan Golem I think is going to fall victim, and is probably not going to be worth powering up. But anyways, I thought it would be really cool to show what it would look like from the electric typing and from the rock typing, so you can get a full picture and know exactly how much it is worth powering up, or is it worth powering up at all. I want to say that with my final answer, I believe that it is not worth powering up. It's definitely an interesting Pokemon, and who knows, maybe it's something that's worth dropping in a gym, but at least from an attacking standpoint, I just don't think it's going to be worth it. But anyways, I hope you did enjoy this episode. I want to go ahead and drop a question of the day, and that's going to be, what is your favorite Alolan form in Pokemon Go? Be sure to put it in the comment section below and I will definitely reply, and I will see you next time. Before I end the video, I just wanted to take a brief moment to thank you, the fans. It's something that I actually don't do that often, and I felt like it was deserving, because I have to say, when I first stopped doing YouTube back in the winter time, I honestly had no idea whether or not the Pokemon Go community was going to take me back, whether my channel was going to struggle, whether it was just going to basically be completely irrelevant, and I was completely shocked by all of the support. Right when I came back, I have to say that there were a core set of fans that were right there cheering me on. And now we can say, over the past 3 months, we have literally grown over 13,000 subscribers, more than doubling the channel when I left in the winter time. And I have to say, that is an absolutely incredible milestone. But what I want to let you know is that all of you drive me to make better content, to strive to do things that are challenging. For instance, uploading 4 to 5 videos a day when I have another full-time job is something that I challenged myself to do, but I definitely thought that the fans would enjoy that. Anyways, like I said, I definitely wanted to take a minute just to thank everyone, and I felt like I needed to do it. Anyways, I hope you did enjoy it, and I will see you next time.
Hit me like a tidal wave.